We are recording the interview of Bob Seitz. This interview is being conducted by Jennifer Seavey from the Wright State University's Veteran Voices Project. Also in attendance is Bob Stuckey. This interview is being recorded at the Champaign Aviation Museum in Urbana, Ohio. It is 11 a.m. on February 6, 2016. Okay, Bob. Where and when were you born?
I was born in Springfield, February the 16th, 1928.
Who are your parents and what were their occupations?
Well, when I was born, my dad was a metal finisher at the Metallic Casket Company. My mother was just a housewife. So,
Good. So who were your siblings? If so, did they serve at all?
no, I had 5 sisters.
And you were
No brothers.
No? You're the only one.
I'm the only one.
So what were you doing before you entered the service?
I worked on farms as just a general farm labor.
Okay. Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted.
Okay. What branch of the military did you serve in?
Army Air Corps.
So where did you go for basic training and what was that like?
I went to Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Field, in Biloxi, Mississippi. It was different, you know, like the other guy said, you learn discipline pretty quick.
Sure.
And so that didn't bother me too much. I had discipline at home. So.
Do you recall any of your instructors?
Not really.
No. No. Okay. So what was your military occupation?
I was a radio sound operator. I sent balloons in the air with radio equipment on it to get weather and wind speeds and stuff like that at different altitudes. I've done that for, 2 years. So,
Okay. So how did you adapt to military life?
I had no problem with it. A lot of people complained about it, but I thought, what makes a difference? You have to work somewhere. My dad informed me of that after I got out. So, but no, it was a job, and that's the way I looked at it.
So what type of training did you receive for that?
Well, I went to weather school as a weather observer, and then they shipped me to Alaska, to the Aleutian Islands, and then I was there a month, and they took me back to Elmendorf Field in Anchorage for more schooling to make me a radio sound operator. And then I was back on ADAC again with sending balloons in the air.
That's really neat. So where all did you serve?
Well, other than Biloxi, Mississippi, I went to school, weather school in Champaign, Illinois. Can't think of the name of the field now. But it was for weather school. I was there for 3 months in weather school. And then went from there to Washington for a ship to Alaska. So, other than that, nothing exciting.
So you didn't serve abroad at all?
No, I was in Alaska. They called that abroad at that
Really?
time. It wasn't a state then.
So what did your average day look like?
Windy and chilly. The average temperature in the summer on ADAC is about 52 degrees. We had 18 months I was there. We had one day got up to 70. Most of the time it was 52 or below. In the wintertime, the coldest I seen was 10 degrees. But I seen pictures and heard stories about times below zero up there. but it's very windy, really windy.
Yeah.
So
So when you sent the balloon up in the air, were you in charge of putting together the equipment that goes up with it as well?
we got equipment was in a box about 8 or 10 inches wide and probably 15 inches tall. And it had most of the equipment, all the radio equipment was in it, but we had to charge batteries to put 4 wet cell batteries in it. And then we had a humidity element and a temperature element that we put in. And the balloons, we had a Quonset hut had 13-foot doors. And we had to stoop to get out that door with the balloon. Now, that's how big the balloon was. And you couldn't, if the wind was blowing over 45 miles an hour, you couldn't release one. It would drag you around. You couldn't hold it. So probably from December to March, we probably couldn't take very many runs because of the wind. But other than that, everything was set up for us. We followed it with they called a Raywood machine. It looked like a big bed springs. And it had a little scope on it like a television set that had 2 little blips come up. As long as we kept them tops of them level, we could tell. Every 1,000 feet, we'd have where it was at, how fast the wind was blowing, and the temperature and the humidity at that level. And that was all the pilots used for flying in all the weather. So I did have a job that was important to the pilots. It wasn't to me. I didn't, when they told me I was going to weather school, the only thing I knew about weather, I knew when it rained or snowed. So other than that, but 3 months of weather school it wasn't bad, wasn't good, but if you went to sleep in school, you got to go back to the squad and carry a rifle around for 2 or 3 hours. But I never got caught doing that.
There you go.
But other than that, that's really all I done. When I came back from Alaska, I was in Michigan at Selfridge Field out of Mount Clemens, Michigan. I spent the last year of my service there. I was there a year, from December of 48 to, December 47 till 1940, December 48. That's when I got out. I only spent 3 years in the military.
Okay. So what kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving?
Well, I had quite a few friends that I worked with. I've only kept contact with one of them after I got out. And, but the rest of them, I don't know what happened to them.
Okay. So how did you stay in touch with family and friends while you were away?
I'd write a letter once in a while. I'd get letters. I'd get more letters than I wrote. I'm not a letter writer. But no, I would write once in a while. That's all.
Okay. So what did you do while you were when you weren't working?
Well, we had a nice movie theater. We had a gym that we could go play basketball, anything like that, lift weights or anything like that, just something to do. And then when it got warm enough, we had a softball team. Played softball. So other than that, that was about it. There wasn't nothing else up there. Adak, where I was at, has no trees. There's no trees on that island. It's all sand and cold weather.
So is that what you did up in Alaska, or was that Michigan?
No, that's what I did in Alaska and Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't out in the middle of nowhere where you were stationed in Alaska?
No, there was a naval base there on the island, plus an Air Force base.
Okay.
That Other than that, that's the only thing that was there.
Okay. So, when you came home, what were you feeling?
Just happy to be there.
How did you come back home? By bus, or did you fly in, or?
No, I flew back to California from Alaska, and then I took a train to Springfield, and then a bus home. But we lived in Cedarville at that time.
Okay.
But other than that, that's about it.
How were you received by your family and the community?
Fine,
Good.
fine. Glad to see me, I guess.
So when you came home, what did you end up doing?
Let me see. Well, I didn't do anything for 2 months till my dad told me I had to get a job. But then I worked for a telephone company for 33 and a half years. Other than that, that's about all I've done. Well, I got married, had 2 children. Well, I have 2 children. We didn't have children, we adopted children.
Okay.
But other than that,
Have your kids joined the military at all?
no. I have a grandson that spent about 14 years in the Marines. Other than that, no.
No? Okay. So, how were you a part of the Dayton Honor Flight?
Well, I guess I was just fortunate. So. But I flew back from Alaska in 1947, and I never flew in another airplane until, what was it, August of 2013. And I loved that honor flight.
How was that experience for you?
Great. I think it's the greatest thing in the world for veterans. I hope everybody gets a chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'd never been to Washington. I'd probably never been there if I hadn't had that honor flight. And he was the cause of it.
Good. So, are you a member of any veterans organizations?
I belong to the American Legion.
And what do you do with them?
I haven't done anything other than pay dues, read their magazines. I'm really not very active in anything.
Oh, okay.
Church, I go to church all the time. That's other than that. My wife passed away 3 years ago, and I still do that, live by myself.
So what do you do while you work here at the museum? Do you work here at the museum?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, I got to go to I want to go down to the Air Force Museum, to the new building they got when it opens up.
What's going to be in there?
Spacecraft and stuff like that. All the presidential planes and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be exciting. So how did your military experience affect your life overall?
Well, like most of them said, you learn discipline. But I had discipline at home before I went. But no, you really had to be very careful what you done in the military, or you got in trouble. I never got in too much trouble while I was in there. But no, it just teaches you to take orders.
Sure. And how has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Well, unlike the other 2 interviews you had, I think military service should be required for young people. I don't know. That's my opinion, but I think it's a great growing up period. So I think they should try it.
So, where did you say you were when the war ended?
When the war ended, well, it ended in August of 45. The fighting ended, but it wasn't declared over until December the 31st of 48. So consequently, I was a World War II veteran because I had spent 13 months before the war was declared completely over.
Oh, okay.
My mother wouldn't have let me go in earlier.
So how old were you?
17.
17. And did your parents have to sign a paper
Yes,
for you?
ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
I signed up for the Navy, and they wouldn't let me take the papers home, so I went to the Air Force, and they let me take the papers home, and I got them signed and went in.
Okay. So what message would you like to leave for future generations who will watch this interview?
Well, I would say the first thing to do is study and get a college education today. Now, I couldn't have done that. I didn't study very good, and I don't think I would have made it through college. But other than that, I think it's a requirement today, really, and hope everybody can do it.
So you did go to college for a
No,
little
ma'am.
while? No, not at all? Okay.
Nope. The only schooling I had after high school was military.
And then you went right into your job when you
Yeah.
came back? Okay. Have you done anything else since then?
When I retired, we bought a farm
Oh, okay.
and we lived there 11 years until somebody else wanted the farm worse than we did, so we sold it.
What kind of farming?
I just had grain, and then when the government came out with the conservation reserve, I put most of the farm ground in the conservation reserve because it was hill country. It wasn't really good farmland. So that all I had to do was mow it once a year.
Okay.
So other than that, that's all I've done.
So where are you at now then if you sold the farm?
I'm here in Springfield now.
Okay.
We had a farm in Scioto County. We were down there 11 years.
Oh,
So, but all my relatives is in Springfield. So
that's good. Then you can stay close with everybody.
yeah.
So what do you do? Oh, lost my train of thought for a minute.
I don't have many relatives left in Springfield. Him and a couple nieces. Well, no, just one niece in Springfield. Yeah.
Okay. So,
And I don't have any sisters anymore. My 5 sisters is all gone. I have 2 daughters. One's in Spokane, Washington, and the other's in San Diego, California.
what do they do?
One's a dog groomer. The one in San Diego is a dog groomer, and the one in Washington works at a window factory.
Oh, okay.
So,
So do you have any other activities you do here in Springfield? Do you golf or?
no, I mow the grass in the summertime. That's about it.
That's good.
He likes to go to auctions too.
Not anymore. I got too much stuff.
Do you collect anything?
Everything.
Everything?
Well, me and my wife collect everything. But my wife's no longer living. So I got gobs of china, silverware, rolling pins, thimbles. Yeah, we used to go to auctions every Saturday. Never missed. But now I haven't been to an auction for a long time.
So for the museum here, do you come out at all and help out or?
No.
No?
I just walked around out there, and it's amazing what they're doing out there.
So how did you hear about what they're doing?
to him.
Oh, okay.
Well, Greg's his son-in-law,
Oh, okay.
and he works with these guys. He was with these guys a lot, and but this is how I knew about this.
Okay. When you were working with the weather balloons, how big is the balloon?
Well, it would take a whole tank, big, tall tank of hydrogen to fill it. I would say it's probably 10 to 11 foot in diameter. When I was in Michigan, we had special balloons that would probably were 24 or 25 feet in diameter. But we only done about 3 runs with those balloons. And I think we got as high as 90,000 feet. Now they got airplanes fly that high. But no, when I was in Aleutian Islands, we very seldom ever got a balloon at 45,000 feet because of the cold weather and the atmosphere up there. But here in the States, we could go a good bit higher, but not very often.
Okay. So, when you worked in Alaska and Michigan, and you mentioned that the weather balloons were used to help the pilots.
Yeah, it's for information for, they can tell what the weather's like, where they're going or coming from, and something like that. They depend really on the weather.
Did you have any experiences where the balloon went and did its own thing without you guys?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, we had too much equipment that somebody had to be there all the time to follow it. So it took about probably, I would go to work about 10 o'clock at night, and I would get off at about 6 o'clock in the morning. But the balloon run itself probably only took an hour to an hour and a half till the balloon would burst. They had parachutes on it so it wouldn't fall on anybody.
Okay. So what did you do then while in between then?
Not much of anything. We played, like I said, when the weather was right, we played softball. And we could go play basketball in the wintertime. And other than that, just anything you could think of.
Okay. All right. Well, do you feel that there's anything that we haven't discussed or you'd like to add to the interview?
Not that I know of. We were in Aleutian Islands, we were a detachment that was, our headquarters was in Elmendorf Field in Anchorage, and we were just a detachment with the 23rd Air Service Group. I think that the most men we had were probably about 45 in our weather group. And probably the last 6 or 8 months, we had a joint Army-Navy weather station that we worked with Navy guys also. Other than that, everything just routine.
So what did you do when you combined it with the other groups?
Well, really, when the Navy combined with us, they did not, the radio sound division I was in, we didn't have any Navy men. They were weather observers or weather forecasters. Other than that, the radio sound, we didn't have any Navy men.
No? Okay.
So, but we had, I don't know how many Navy men altogether the weather station had, probably about 8. And we were without equipment at one time. Our recording machine broke, and somehow or other we could not get it through the Air Force. And we had a Navy commander, Navy ensign, was a weather forecaster, and he caught me one morning when I was getting off work and wanted to know if I could get a truck and some help to pick up some equipment from the Navy side. So we went over to the Navy base on the Navy side of the island and went through a warehouse that was unbelievable. We needed a radio sound recording machine that we couldn't get through the Air Force. We go over there at that Navy warehouse, they got 3 of them sitting in there. They didn't use them. So this Navy man learned about it, and he contacted them and got one of them, and we went over and picked it up and went back in business. So other than that, nothing exciting happened up there.
Now, is that what you used to attach to
That's
the
what
balloon?
recorded the message that came back from the radio equipment that we sent up.
Okay.
We had a machine that every so often you'd print a black line on a graph-like thing. We had to use slide rules to figure everything out from that. Now, I can't use the slide rule today. It's amazing. I forget all about it, what it does. But that's what we used all the time to figure out how fast the balloon was traveling, how high it was, and what direction and all that. We had an 18-inch slide rule. That was the main equipment we had, other than filling the balloons.
And what did that look like? Was it just something that told you, like, was it lines that showed you, oh, well, this is what this is, and
Just like any other slide rule. And like I said, I forgot all I knew about it. I haven't worked with anything like that since.
okay.
I worked for a telephone company for 33 and a half years, never worked on a telephone.
What was your job there then?
I was a cable splicer,
Oh, okay.
so I worked outside.
Oh, all right. So when the power goes out, you were the person to go out there and fix it?
Well, we had, mainly our problem was if a garage or something burned down, it'd burn the cables down. And we'd have to go out and replace it, or somebody'd dig a cable up, and we'd have to go out and do work on that. Other than that,
So, in your jobs, when you were out there letting the balloon up in the air, was it a one person? Could one person be out there to do it, or how many
No.
people worked with you?
took 2 people to launch the balloon.
Was it heavy?
No, it wasn't heavy. But if there was any breeze blowing, one man would have to hold the instrument, and the other man would release the balloon, and when it got over you with the instrument, you had to let it go as the balloon was going up. So it took 2 of us to release the balloon, and it took 3 of us to record and figure everything out. One man to follow with the, well, it looked like a bed spring's what it looked like. We call it a Raywind sound machine. And one man to work the recorder and give us the information. We'd try to figure it out as it was going up.
Okay,
Other than that,
that's neat.
and then we had to go to the weather station and send it out on teletype to Army Airways Communications to send it to all the airports around. So, see, when I was in, I think every airport had a weather station. Now, I think they have one in Dayton, they have one in Wilmington, one in Cleveland, and one in Cincinnati. Because we got airports all over. But this airport probably gets weather reports from Dayton. So, I don't think they have a weather station here, I don't know.
So when you were in Alaska and Michigan, how far out did your information travel then? What was the radius for your information getting out to the other surrounding
Probably,
airports?
we probably sent information, probably to at least 3 or 4 states from up there.
Oh, really?
You know, all the airport, Army Air Corps bases got our information that was close around. So it was pretty, really nationwide. I mean, they had them all over. So
So, wow. That's really neat. I didn't know
Well,
it branched out that
they
far.
they had one at Wright-Patterson, they had one at Wilmington, and of course I was at Selfridgeville, Michigan. And those are the three I know of, but well, I don't know all the other weather stations, how many they are, really. But we had maps that showed them all over the states. So,
Did you do any mapping?
no.
No? Okay.
That's the weather forecaster's job.
Okay.
He gets the information from us, and that's, we had a captain when I was on ADAC in the Aleutian Islands that you could almost bet on his forecast. That's how accurate he was. Now, we had forecasters that weren't near that accurate, but he was very accurate. Other than that, I don't know. Today, they do it all with computers. I don't know. And I can't operate a computer.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add or feel that we haven't discussed?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our interview, and thank you for your service, sir.
Okay, thank you.